A warm welcome to today's talk, Friday the 23rd of December. Now today we're going to be talking about a press release from the UK government which talks about a new partnership with Moderna to produce huge amounts of mRNA vaccines over the next 10 years. And I read this and I looked at what it said and it put it in a very positive light, but I'm going to ask a few questions, a few things that were the government and Moderna may be neglected to put into the press release. So let's get straight down to it. This is the press release here. It's all there, perfectly readable, understandable, presented as a great thing by this partnership. And we're going to give some powerful arguments because I read this and became more and more concerned as I read through the paper. So UK cements 10-year partnership with Moderna and a major boost for vaccine research. Sounds good, doesn't it? UK government official documentation, official website, everything. Moderna to invest in mRNA research and development in the UK to build a state-of-the-art manufacturing centre with the ability to produce 250 million vaccines a year. Now, the suggested advantages that they give to this, the NHS patients will have access to a UK-made supply of COVID-19 jabs. Well, so it's saying this is good, that we will have access to lots and lots of COVID-19 vaccines. Just how long are they planning on going on with the COVID vaccination programme for? Is it the next 10 years? They don't tell us that. Somewhat concerning. As well as cutting-edge vaccine development for other respiratory diseases, such as flu, respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. Do we take it from this, and it looks like we do, that they're going to be converting the traditional vaccines that we have against flu and respiratory syncytial virus to the mRNA type vaccines? Are they really saying they're putting all of their eggs in the mRNA vaccine technology basket? That appears to be exactly what they're saying. If the Secretary of State wants to get hold of me and correct me, I'm happy to change that, but that's what they seem to be saying. That's from the Department of Health and Social Care. It seems that's what they're going for, all out mRNA vaccine technology. It's going to create jobs, further future-proof the UK against potential pandemics, speedy access to the latest advancements in vaccine technology. Don't think I like the speedy bit. I've got this really quite traumatic memory of things progressing at the speed of science, haven't you? In fact, I get a sort of a bad feeling when I think about that. UK cements its status as a life science superpower. We are a superpower. In partnership with Moderna, the UK Health Security Agency working with Moderna to ensure early vaccine development. And this is supporting the G7 mission to get from variants to vaccine in 100 days. Does this mean they're going to be working on a new variant COVID vaccine every time a new variant comes out? That seems to be what's implied. Read it for yourself. See what you make of it. Pretty alarming that we could be planning to carry these vaccines on lucratively for the next 10 years, or lucratively for some. NHS patients access to Moderna COVID-19 vaccines that can protect against multiple variants, they're saying. Okay. No mention of natural immunity in this press release. Strangely enough, no mention of natural immunity. This is a finalisation of a partnership led by a vaccine task force. So we're also told Moderna worked closely with the vaccine task force during the pandemic. The company has now committed to invest substantial funding in UK-based research and development activities over a 10-year period. Okay, that's sort of news so far. Now, perhaps most concerning of all, I picked up on this bit here that they say is that they're presenting this as good news. I'm saying it's most concerning of all. This will include running of a significant number of clinical trials in the UK. So that's clinical trials, presumably on the UK population, presumably using mRNA vaccines. I'm pretty uncomfortable, I must say, at this point. Large-scale clinical trials on multiple new mRNA vaccines on the people of the United Kingdom. Why am I feeling uncomfortable? Terrified might be a better word. It's also pledged to fund, this is the bit that really concerns me, to fund grants for UK universities. So they're going to be paying the university including PhD places and research programs. So this great philanthropic organisation is going to be pouring money into UK medical research. Is the tenor of this paper, of this press release, as I read it. As I say, read it for yourself. It's all there. Now, not mentioned in the press release. Now, this is me thinking now. This is not mentioned in the press release. But I would like to see mentioned. Full explanation of why the focus is entirely on mRNA vaccines rather than the tried and tested traditional vaccines that we've been using for over 100 years. Why are they going flat out for mRNA vaccines and apparently nothing else? That is a bit strange. Unless, of course, it's because Moderna specialises in these vaccines or the mRNA formulation. Why the UK government needs Moderna in the first place isn't explained. Surely we have some half a dozen or so reasonably competent scientists in the UK who could make mRNA vaccines without the commercial interest injected by Moderna. No rationale is given. It's just presented as a fact. The partnership will issue guarantees that funding will in no way influence the agenda of employed scientists. So this is what I want to see. That this partnership between the government and Moderna will guarantee that the funding will in no way influence the agenda of the employed scientists. Strangely enough, that is not in their press release. But I would like to see it. A guarantee that students will be awarded his or her PhD based purely on the quality of the research, not whether they sing the tune that the funders would like to hear. PhD students are actually very vulnerable. If the supervisor says, look, do this or you won't pass, then given that people have invested 3 years of solid, hard graft into this, on top of all their undergraduate work, there's going to be a tendency to comply in order to get their PhD. And this is not just me talking. I've talked to many PhD students who are in that position. They feel they have to comply in order to be awarded their doctorate. I would like this to be in the article, in the press release. There will be no sanction of scientists that offer alternative views to the prevailing narrative. Scientists will not be threatened or cajoled in any way. I didn't see that in the press release, and I did read it all a couple of times. Within reason, scientists will be allowed to choose what they want to research, not be ordered into providing a particular desired concept. So they can choose what they want in order to further immunotherapy, not be ordered into particular directions. Science will not be used to provide evidence for development that looks profitable. So this should be done on the efficacy and the benefit to, in the initial instance, of course, the population of the UK and by extension the world. Science and medicine will never be subjugated to commercial interests. I would like to see that in there. I don't think they actually put that. In fact, I'm pretty sure they didn't put that in the press release. Do check it for yourself, but I would like to see that in the press release. There will be independent ownership of the partnership, independent external people with authority to oversee the project. If promising non-mRNA vaccine projects looked interesting, they will not be squashed in favour of mRNA vaccine technologies. Extensive studies will be carried out on systemic distribution of the mRNA. So for these new vaccines that are going to be developed, I'd like people to analyse whether the vaccine remains where it's injected or whether there's some systemic distribution of the vaccine. They didn't say that in the press release, but I'd like to see that. All organs will be examined as appropriate with scans or in post-mortems for damage caused by systemic distribution of the mRNA that they're going to be injecting into UK clinical trials. I would like to see that, but it wasn't there. And this is everything: brain, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, spleen, everything. None of it's mentioned. Adverse effects on physiological systems will be closely monitored. All results will be published, whether negative or positive. So physiological systems. I'm thinking there, for example, things like the angiotensin system that controls blood pressure. Could that be affected by the mRNA vaccines as well as anatomical structures? So could it be affecting the functioning of the body as well as the structure of the body? I would like to see that being fully investigated, but it's not mentioned. Pity, I would like to have seen that there. I would have been assured. I'd like to see all results published, whether negative or positive. I wouldn't like to see negative results being suppressed or binned because they don't show the potentially profitable narrative that is on the agenda. There will be no publication bias where favourable results are published and publicised, while less favourable results are squashed. Research reports will not be ghostwritten by Moderna or representatives of the partnership. I would like to see guarantees that the papers that come out of this collaboration are not ghostwritten by commercial interests. It's not mentioned. It's not mentioned in the press release. The peer review process will have guaranteed anonymity, i.e. it will be blind. So the people actually carrying out peer review of their papers that are going to come out of this, and we can expect that hundreds or thousands of papers potentially could come out of this, that the peer reviewers will be blind. So the peer reviewers won't feel that they have to say what the right readers or what the writers or the ghostwriters of these papers want them to say. There must be complete academic freedom. Fully anonymized data sources will be open to the public domain for independent analysis. Source data. This is the problem at the moment. We don't have access to the source data so that people like Professor Fenton and other independent academics can analyse it. We need access to the source data, not just the summaries that Big Pharma choose to give us. Not mentioned, but I would like to see it there. All adverse events will be published in full. I'd like to see all adverse events published in full, combined with all relevant pathophysiological data, so blood results, clinical examinations, investigations, x-rays, histology, everything. I want to see it all published so we can get accurate risk-benefit analysis. We need to know exactly what the risks are associated with these new vaccines that are going to be developed so we can compare risk-benefit analysis. And also decide for whom these vaccines would be potentially most appropriate, if indeed anyone. All recruits of clinical trials will receive full information disclosure. So anyone being recruited into these clinical trials will be given the full story so they can make a full informed consent before agreeing to being a trial participant. Not mentioned in the press release, but I'd like to see it mentioned in the press release. Full accounts, I'm talking about financial accounts now, including commercial profits, will be placed into the public domain at least every year. That wasn't mentioned, but I'd like to see it there. Studies on intramuscular injection techniques to prevent systemic administration should be carried out. Now, back to the press release timetable. Start building this in the next few months, next couple of months. January, February, March, we guess 2023. First vaccines rolling off the production line in 2025, and presumably clinical trials on men, women, boys and girls in the UK starting in 2025. Secretary of State for Health and Social Care Steve Barclay, in triumphal tones: it's vital that, I'm sorry, I can hardly be bothered reading this out, it's vital we invest in fighting future variants of this disease of COVID. Is it really, Mr. Barclay? If you say so. As well as other deadly viruses that are circulating. Okay, possibly some truth in that, such as seasonal flu and respiratory syncytial virus. And this partnership with Moderna will also strengthen our ability to respond to any future pandemics. What you'd expect him to say. Dr. Jenny Harris, Dame Jenny Harris, I think, awarded a Dame Hood for services to the country during the pandemic. I'm delighted that, and I can't be bothered quoting it. Read it for yourself if you want. Steve Bankle, Chief Executive of Moderna, our new state-of-the-art facility will bring mRNA manufacturing to UK shores, etc., as you would expect. And finally, there's notes to the editor. The details of the strategic partnership between the government and Moderna are commercially sensitive. Why? I'm paying for this out of my taxes. Why is it commercially sensitive? In other words, the riffraff aren't allowed to know. Mind your snack. So there you go. Massive new initiative in the United Kingdom. 250 million doses of mRNA vaccines a year to be trialled on large-scale clinical trials on the UK population. If you're happy with that, go away, live the rest of your life and forget it. If you're not, share this video. I don't normally ask for that, but if you're not happy, share this video. Thank you for watching.